One morning to you and welcome to the news at 10, reaching you live from Abuja on the network service of the FDA. I am Claire Adilabu Abdul-Razak.
And I'm Abdul Malik Adio. Many thanks for joining us. First, the headlines.
Government will continue to support the Army to sustain these laudable initiatives aimed at repositioning you to deal with contemporary security challenges.
President Buhari recommits to guaranteeing security and safety of all Nigerians.
Federal government raises concern and complaints regarding Nigerian's airport, results to raising standards.
Addressing best audit practices and fighting financial corruption in Nigeria is addressed at the 24th Auditors General Conference holding in Abuja.
Senate receives requests from President Muhammadu Buhari seeking the confirmation of 16 members of the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria.
Here is the news in full now, and we begin with annual confirm, where federal government has resolved to do everything within its constitutional powers to guarantee the peace and security of law-abiding Nigerians.
Speaking at this year's annual conference of the Chief of Army Staff in Kaduna, President Muhammadu Buhari reassured the nation that this is a commitment that will be kept. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
In line with the theme of the conference, application of the cutting edge of the Nigerian Army in tackling contemporary challenges of security, President Muhammadu Buhari unveiled some man-resistant ambush-protected vehicles named Ezugu. The vehicles were locally designed and manufactured by the Nigerian Army to carry out insertion and extraction of troops, assault, counter-terrorism, and delivery of high firepower and urban warfare. President Buhari described as encouraging that apart from promoting the government's local content policy, the Nigerian Army as a critical element of national power is also transforming itself to becoming an organ to be proud of in the future by all Nigerians.
I wish to commend the Chief of Army Staff for his laudable efforts at transforming the Nigerian Army. He has keyed into the federal government change agenda, and I particularly commend his thrust in the critical areas such as innovative and inventive approach to producing military hardware. This government will continue to support the Army to sustain these laudable initiatives aimed at repositioning you to deal with contemporary security challenges and to achieve a modern army of the future.
The president also applauded the Nigerian Army's commitment to capacity building, training, and conduct of military exercises, especially I Am Akpatuma and Crocodile Smile, aimed at enhancing operational efficiency as well as facilitating conducive environment for socio-economic activities to thrive.
I salute the courage and the gallant efforts of the personnel of the Nigerian Army. I am highly impressed with the conduct of operations that continue to flush out the terrorists from their enclaves. I urge you to sustain this great effort.
Governor Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai, in a goodwill message, said the people of Kaduna can never forget the role played by the Nigerian Army in achieving and maintaining the prevailing peace enterprise across the state.
The Nigerian Army helped restore peace and stability in the southern Kaduna Senatorial District. The Army helped in no small way in decimating the capacity of cattle rustlers and kidnappers operating in this state and in surrounding states. The Army played a leading role in confronting the menace of the outlawed El Zakzaki movement, which had been oppressing the people of Zaria and environs for the past 30 years. The government and people of Kaduna State are very grateful to the Nigerian Army.
All challenges of operational, logistics, and administrative support will be addressed to further reposition the Nigerian Army to prepare for the next year final onslaught on Boko Haram.
The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, attributed the giant strides being recorded by the Nigerian Army in the discharge of its responsibilities to the unprecedented support, assistance, and guidance of the President.
I want to humbly reassure Mr. President of our unalloyed loyalty and respect to the Constitution.
Also in Kaduna, President Muhammadu Buhari inaugurated the 44 Reference Hospital of the Nigerian Army, recently upgraded and equipped with state-of-the-art facilities. The hospital will not only provide excellent medical services to the nation's troops, but also serve the needs of the United Nations personnel as a Level 4 hospital. Meanwhile, the President has returned to Abuja after his official engagements in Malabo, Equatorial Guinea, as well as Katsina and Kaduna states that lasted 5 days. In Abuja, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And President Muhammadu Buhari has unveiled Izugu, a locally produced mine-resistant ambush-protected vehicle, at the 2019 Chief of Army Staff Conference holding in Kaduna. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa has the details of the capacity of this ingenious combat vehicle.
Fatality relating to improvised explosive devices, IED, and mines are among the dominant potent threats to the ongoing counter-insurgency operations in northeast Nigeria. To tackle this challenge and also develop the nation's military-industrial complex, the Nigerian Army commenced local production of these customized mine-resistant ambush-protected vehicles, MRAP. This is in line with federal government local content policy aimed at ensuring self-reliant in military hardwares.
The presidential directive was to involve a professional, well-respected, highly motivated, and people-centric Nigerian Army that will have the requisite capability and capacity to respond adequately in a timely manner to solve the myriad of contemporary and future security threats.
The MRAP with integrated suspension system, suitable for rough terrain in northeast, provide control for superior mobility.
The Izugu MRAP that we just launched is so cheap, equivalent of about 10 imported ones, and is very effective.
Not only creating employment for the people, because I understand it's 100% locally manufactured. So that gives jobs to our youths, engineers, and the like. And also, it now cuts down on the timeline, because once you order this from outside, even the transportation takes at least 6 weeks.
We, the National Assembly, having seen this initiative, we will be able to make more funds available in terms of appropriation so that the Army can do more.
The combat vehicles, a force multiplier, with provisions for different arms, were produced using internationally certified ballistic materials. Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Quite ingenious there, I must say.
Honestly, the caveat, Izugu,
Yeah.
what does that mean though?
I was also curious, and I thought Ismail would have given us an insight. But if my intuition is right, I want to believe that it's an Igbo coinage, which again speaks to the issue of protection, trying to avoid mines. Ugu can be a form of nail, mines on the ground. So I'm not sure, but this is just what my intuition tells us.
But I like the coinage though, having to, be launched in Kaduna and have a name talking about Izugu.
Yes, but again, Abdul Malik, that speaks to what we can do, what we are capable of doing. We have the stuff, we have the expertise, we have the human resource, and this is what we're talking about, domesticalizing our, solutions.
I like that. I think she pointed out all. Now, moving on. The Nigerian Air Force has continued to develop human capacity through robust and result-oriented training in research so as to develop indigenous technology.
It's another one.
Right.
And Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar stated this when he again unveiled locally fabricated auxiliary power unit test stand, and that was in Lagos. Ken Ebelugbe tells us more.
The APU test stand is a unique aircraft ground support equipment that can serve many purposes. It can be employed as an APU test stand, a ground power unit to supply electrical power for the aircraft. It also serves as an air cart to produce bleed air to test aircraft engines and to test C-130 generator. The chief of the air staff who unveiled the equipment said, with this test stand, the capacity of 631 aircraft maintenance depot to maintain and repair the APU have been greatly enhanced.
Equipment is very important when it comes to serviceability of C-130. In the past, when you have a faulty APU, when you bring it out to repair it, you don't have a test stand to test it, whether the repairs has actually been successful or not. So what you usually do is to put it back on the aircraft. And sometimes in that process, you damage more components. But today we have a system that is locally fabricated by these people you are seeing behind. We sat down over a period led by their commander, and we have a facility that we can now test our APU.
The Nigerian Air Force says it will continue to look inwards in the maintenance of its aircraft for its operations. In Lagos, Ken Beluge, NTA News.
You seem to be wearing your glasses.
Indeed. All right, now still talking security. A security summit for members of the South Monarchs Forum, key players, say for Nigeria to sustain peace in the country, traditional rulers must caution their subjects to rise above primordial sentiments capable of creating mistrust among the diverse ethnic groups in Nigeria.
Secretary to the government of the Federation also said the federal government is taking more decisive action to eradicate, all forms of insecurity. Clement Baraku report.
It is often said that security is the responsibility of all, and there is no better way to achieve a secure society than involving the grassroots. It is for this reason that members of the South Monarchs Forum and other traditional rulers from across the country gathered in Uyo to brainstorm on how to create synergy with government of South states towards ensuring a peaceful and crime-free geopolitical zone.
With the remarkable achievements recorded in the areas of economy, security, and anti-corruption in the first term of His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, this second term promises to be more decisive in its efforts to eradicate all forms of insecurity challenges and social vices in our country.
Our youth here are applying the works of their hands to earn a living. Crime has lost its luster and ability.
The royal fathers were unanimous in their submissions that sustainable peace starts from the grassroots.
Nigeria is our common inheritance. Nigeria is our common interest. We should work towards our common interest.
Beginning with the theme of today, we cannot act president enough for initiative that brought us here together.
The recommendations of the summit is expected to be submitted to the federal government for implementation. In Uyo, Clement Barkui, NTA News.
And you're watching the news at 10 here on the network service of the NTA. And we are broadcasting live from Abuja. We have more news to come.
24th Auditor General's Conference opens up with resolutions on addressing best audit practice and fighting financial crimes in Nigeria. This and more when we return. Many thanks for staying tuned. Now, the Nigerian Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timothy Silva, has assumed leadership as the chairman of the Committee of Ministers of the West African Gas Pipeline Project. This was announced Tuesday at the 19th Committee of Ministers meeting held in Cotonou. In a statement of acceptance, His Excellency Timothy Silva thanked his counterpart from Togo, Ghana and Benin for the continued success of the West African Gas Pipeline Project, while affirming that it will work assiduously to deliver on target and lauded the need for collaboration. And Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, while presiding over the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council's meeting, says the President is very concerned about complaints regarding the airports. Now, in a renewed effort to improve the experience of travelers at the airports, especially that of Lagos and Abuja, BBEC resolved to be working with the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, FAN, and the Immigration Service to establish certain standards. Ministers at that meeting include Trade, Industry and Investment, Adeni Adebayo, Foreign Affairs, Jeffrey Onyama, Federal Capital Territory, Mohammed Bello, and Police Affairs, Mohammed Maigari Dingyagdi, as well as Acting Head of Service of the Federation, Folashade Yemieson. Now, experts are calling for fast modernization of transportation sector in Nigeria to meet global standards towards contributing to revenue generation in the country. Now, that was at the maiden National Transportation Summit by the Chartered Institute of Transport Administration held here in Abuja. Abdul Salam Jubre was there.
Developing nations seeking to diversify their economies must, as a matter of urgency, give priority to other sectors like the transportation industry. This is what prompted this gathering of professionals in the transportation sector under the auspices of the Chartered Institute of Transport Administration of Nigeria, CIOTA. With the recent presidential assent to the CIOTA bill, CIOTA National President Dr. Bashir Jamo said the institute will expand transportation practice footprints across the country by becoming a reputable organization based on the mandate of the act establishing it.
This charter comes at the right time when Nigerians are crying of job. The economy improves.